Welcome to Film on Tape, a free audio library for creatives in film and television. My name is Misha Calvert, and I've worked as an actor, writer, director, and producer for many decades. I had so many questions when I was first getting started in New York, and I just wanted fast, free answers. That is what this library is for. The work that you do as a creative is so important. I really hope that this library is going to help get your work out there. Film on Tape is sponsored by Vermilion, a coaching and educational company for creatives. You can learn more at clubvermilion.com. I've got a big one for you this week. Change can be really, really hard. And also, I think we really underestimate how much change is possible for us in one lifetime. So I'm going to walk you through the practical, tactical formula that I have figured out based on studying what works, studying the greats, and in my own life, witnessing what works and what didn't work. And on a personal note, I'm going to dedicate it to my dad. He told me recently that he listened to part of one of my episodes of the podcast. He absolutely loved it. And the man's, I think he just turned 77. So I'm dedicating this to him in the event that he does listen again. I really hope he does. Because I want this episode to empower him to change his life. And I want for it to empower you to change your life. And I'm going to lay it out for you in a way that hopefully is easy to follow and easy to implement. So, what it takes to actually change your life. I hope that you're going to come out of this knowing what your blind spot has been. You're going to create a plan of action for how to actually make a life that you love. And also, I'm going to try to support you through some of the more vulnerable concerns that might come up to minimize the risk of you either copping out or giving up part of the way there, which is what the vast majority of people do. So, we're going to start by recognizing that you have a dream of how you want your life to be and admitting that what you've been doing, it hasn't worked. If you're listening to this episode, it's because whatever you've been doing, it just didn't work. Now, what it did do, it kept you alive. And the human brain optimizes to keep you alive. It doesn't optimize for happiness or for having like a good life. It optimizes for keeping you alive, and it would rather keep you in misery and alive than thrust you into the uncertain. So you got to know that about the brain. Like, you're kind of a little bit fighting your brain when it comes to making change. Now, this episode is going to be helpful for you if you find that you're doing a lot all the time, like you're working really hard, but your dreams still feel far away. It's because you created your current way of working when you were a smaller, less confident version of yourself. So by definition, your actions are going to have to change in order to yield different results. You're going to have to learn to do the opposite of what you've been doing. Please buckle up when you hear me say this. This is going to mean a bigger change in your lifestyle than you are currently imagining. We'll come back to that. So, the formula. Formula sounds like, I don't know, laboratory. Like, I need something else. The Secret, that's a cheesy book. I don't know. We'll think of something. But the plan of how to actually execute change has different phases, 7 phases, and I'm going to walk you through all of them. And it really works. I have changed my entire life based on this. I have seen people change their entire lives based on this. It is big, it is bold, it's scary. But what's the alternative? You're not going to live 50 more years. You're going to live the same year 50 times. That sounds like hell to me. I would much rather go for it. I'll walk you through the phases, and hopefully it's going to take you from the same old to brand new. Phase number 1 is alignment. And if you've been listening to this podcast, you've probably been finding yourself moving towards alignment, especially if you did the life inventory. It's one of our most popular episodes, and therein I walk you through steps to figuring out what do I actually want, getting clarity on your life, and then slowly excising the people, places, and things that are leaving you stuck and are not, they're taking up space so that you can't actually move forward. So that's the life inventory episode. I really recommend it if you haven't done that exercise already. You have to get aligned. You have to figure it out. You have to start to become really sensitized to what does and does not feel good, because so many of us end up climbing the wrong mountain. It is far better to start over than to climb the wrong mountain, or wake up 10 years later and realize that you've climbed the wrong mountain. That's me, by the way, raise hand. Been there, done that. A lot of these podcast episodes, like especially the more kind of woo-woo emotional ones, those are built to get you aligned with yourself and figure out what your aligned dream is. What's the right mountain? If you don't have an idea of what that mountain might look like, let me know. Send me a DM and I will literally make an entire podcast episode for you on how to figure out what the right mountain is. That's a promise. I'm serious. People don't message me about the podcast. I'm like, I know people are listening because I see the numbers, but no one ever sends me mail. Anyway, okay, phase 2, immersion. Now, even if you know what the right mountain is, and it could be, by the way, radically different than the thing that you've been doing, like maybe you work in corporate, but you secretly dream of being an opera singer. You probably don't know a lot about what it actually practically means to climb that mountain. You might not have a first clue about the opera industry or about how to take your natural singing talent and turn it into proper opera-trained vocal chops, right? So more likely than not, you're going to be a little bit lost for what it actually means to do this thing that you dream of. This is where you have to immerse yourself. You have to be reading, meeting, greeting people, doing things, trying things, learning, failing, falling on your face, going to networking events. Because like Judge Judy, your brain needs evidence. It needs evidence for what's possible. And so you have to go all in on this new ecosystem, be it opera, be it I want to make films, I want to be a writer, I want to get my fitness in order, finally, whatever the thing, I want to start a family. Really immerse yourself in people, places, and things that have to do with that. That's going to give your brain evidence, and that's going to make your brain believe that it's possible for you too. And it's going to put you in the right time and place for things to start to happen. Phase 3 is discernment. There's going to come a moment of revelation of action in this new land that you're in. We just talked about immersion. So you're immersing yourself. You're going to events. You are meeting people. And as you're immersing yourself, there will be a moment where you are asked to do something, or someone says something and it's like, oh, and you could do that too. And you're like, ding, a little pull, just a little red arrow flashing lights up, pointing at some action you need to take. It's kind of like a tea cake in Alice in Wonderland. It says, eat me. And it probably will be completely unexpected. You never would have thought that this thing would come up. You literally couldn't imagine it. And yet here it is, someone saying, here's a tea cake. It says, eat me. Don't know what's going to happen if I eat it, but I guess, that this feels somehow important. So I'm going to listen. And that little pull, that's discernment. Now, you have to be ready for this moment. You have to make sure that you're grounded and calm so that you don't mistake this moment for anxiety or for, luck. I don't believe in luck. But you're like, oh, that was a coinkydink. Weird. Anyway, back to my, night, drink, whatever. You don't want to just roll over these moments because these little tea cakes are the exact thing. They're an invitation to move in a new direction and to take the first step. I am so excited to tell you that I'm launching a brand new slate of classes that are incredibly helpful on my website. Some of the classes include on-camera acting technique and how to self-produce your own film, actor self-care, which is something that nobody talks about, and how to write a feature film in 10 days, which I'm going to teach you how I did it and how you can do it too. And believe me when I say I poured my heart into these courses. Go to clubvermillion.com. I am so excited about this website. I can't wait to work with you. So the more your nervous system is in homeostasis, the more grounded you are, the more calm you are, the more you're going to be able to discern when this red flashing arrow lights up telling you to do something. Now, by the way, if you miss it, it doesn't mean that it's never going to come to you again. Like, probably it will, and probably it will be louder. But I don't like to waste time. I'm like, just do it the first time, right? I'm sure I've missed many tea cakes in my life, but I think these days with my meditation schedule, like, a lot is happening in a short amount of time. So, you've seen the red flashing arrow. You know the action that you need to take, the first step. Now you have to actually do it. You have to do it. Take the action. And it's going to have to do with the right mountain. It's going to be kind of somewhere in the vicinity. You know, if you're like looking up at Mount Fuji and it's very far in the distance, but you're like, I'm going to get to the top of that mountain. The first step might not be directly pointing towards the mountain. Maybe there's a path and you actually have to go left first. But it should be kind of in the general direction of the mountain. So you're going to take that first step and you're going to get accountability. Now, this could be from me. It could be from if you're in a class of some kind or a group of friends. It could be from your partner, a teacher, whoever. Just get that accountability. Tell your friend, I'm going to do this thing that's kind of crazy and I just want you to make sure that I do it. And in 2 days' time, can you ask me if I've done it, please? And then you're going to take one more step every day, 7 days a week, and you're going to assess your progress weekly. Phase 5 is fear. You're going to have resistance to this action. This is normal. It's going to feel like probably some combination of too big or too bold or illogical or insane, risky, terrifying. You're going to feel like maybe a fraud or a selfish pig or a guilty, terrible person, vulnerable, maybe even like you're in danger. Although that, you know, if you're in actual danger, that's different than just the trauma response of this feels dangerous. So try to get that discernment to feel the difference. But point being, because you have never done this before, and this is a new land, a new action step that you've never done, it will bring up a lot of fear. Do it anyway. Phase 6 is go all in. So you're going to take this action as far as you can. Don't just toe dip, for the love of God. Most people get to phase 6 and they're right at the road leading them to their future. They're right at the yellow brick road and they just reach out their toe and they tap the yellow brick and then they run back to their old life. For the love of God, do not do that. And you will be in like the top 2% of people. Because most people, they've fallen off by now. And then they finally do get to the road and they're too scared to actually go forward. So here's how to stay on the road. You got to continuously check in with yourself. If your body feels excited, stay on the road. And that could feel like not just increased energy or inspiration. It could feel a little like buzzing or lightness in your body, like your head is swimming, maybe you're a little dizzy, maybe you're sleeping a lot better. Maybe you're sleeping not as much because you're just so jazzed about this new direction. Maybe you're like not as interested in hanging out with the same old people anymore. Maybe you just want to be alone and be in your little cave as you're hatching this new life that you're building. Whatever it is, pay attention to how it feels in your body. And if it feels aligned, keep going. Now, this is body wisdom. This is different than logic brain. Logic brain is going to tell you, this is ridiculous. This doesn't make sense and this isn't going to work. Don't listen to that. That is your survival brain trying to keep you alive. When you go all in, remember that by definition, this new thing that you're doing is going to look, feel, and sound completely foreign to anything that you have done before. That is the point. The point is that it's different and that you have no experience in this. Phase 7 is an ongoing phase throughout the whole previous 6 phases, and that is beginner mind. If you can adopt a beginner mindset like you're 5 years old, literally, that's really going to help you to drop the judgment, drop the ego, drop the need for validation, and just be in an experiment, be on a little quest. Beginner mindset is a flex. Not knowing what you're going to do, but being willing to try and figure it out is a flex. Meeting new people is a flex. Cold emails are a flex. Cold calls are a bigger flex. And showing up is the biggest flex of all. So I hope by now you're kind of a little shaken up with all of this, like I'm telling you to do the weird thing and the new thing. Make sure it's aligned, but do the weird thing. Here's some tips and tricks that are going to help get you through. Tip number 1, you're going to have moments where the universe opens up. It's going to meet you, and there's going to be a door that opens. I've seen it time and time and time and time again in my own life, in others' lives. Now, you will have been knocking, right, through the action, through the immersion. You're knocking on a door that you think is going to lead you to the mountain. Very likely, the door that you're knocking on is not going to be the one that opens. There's going to be a side door, a trap door, a door in the ceiling, something really unexpected because you can't control the results. You can't control how it turns out or how it looks, but you can control your momentum and the direction of your energy. That's what you really need to focus on. Now, the fact that the door that most likely is going to open is a random door is what most people confuse for luck. Because they don't see the surface level connection, they just say, oh, that's random, that's luck. I don't believe in luck. I don't believe that it's random. I do believe in force and in moving your energy toward a goal. That's going to free up energy for some opportunity to come in. Some people might identify what happens next as luck. I believe it is not luck. I believe it is you. You did that. You made that opportunity happen. Trick number 2 is to be willing to let go of the old identity, of who you thought you were, and what you thought was the right path. This is very difficult. However, it's going to 10x the speed of your breakthrough. So if you always thought that you were the kind of person that lived in this place and did this kind of job, what happens if you let that go? What happens if you say, maybe I'm actually the kind of person who could live anywhere? Maybe I'm the kind of person who can make my own business. Maybe my identity is as an artist full time. Maybe my identity is actually as someone with a family. And my identity is as a mother. It's me talking to myself. If you can open up new ways of thinking of yourself, you're going to move boulders because these boulders are in the way of what's actually aligned for yourself. And also identity just isn't, on another level, it's just not useful. It kind of gets in the way and it's like something that you need to hang your hat on, but like you don't actually need that identity to move forward. So maybe it's not about the identity at all. And it's certainly not about the old identity because that's just a jacket that's too tight. So let the old identity go and be willing to, this is tough, shed a person, place, or thing that you might have thought would be in your life forever. Maybe you don't have to go that far, but I meet a lot of people who, as I'm coaching them, it becomes clear that one of the biggest things holding them back is a person, place, or thing that no longer serves. Final trick, tip, secret. You have to remember you don't know what the next stage is. By definition, you can't really imagine it. So you got to be open to surprises. You might feel like you're venturing into a totally new land. That's okay. It's Zelda, baby. And you got to just follow your alignment and follow your excitement. And if you follow your excitement, you're probably going to stay on the right path with that discernment that we spoke about. Bottom line on all of this, it hasn't worked before now because you've been operating with the same size, energy, confidence, strategies, and limitations for probably a decade or more. So you're very likely going to need to expand your view of life and yourself exponentially in order to accommodate the size of this new reality that you're trying to call in for yourself. The process that I've walked you through is not only going to show you the right mountain and how to climb it, but along the way, you're going to have more energy. You're going to feel more size, more confidence, better strategies, less limitations. As you're walking this road, you're going to get better at walking the road. You're going to get more efficient, and you're going to have more strength and energy to do what's in front of you. It's only going to grow. That's what happens when you're on your purpose. So the 3 most important things that I am going to say are right now. Number 1, you're being asked to do the opposite of what you have done for many years. The opposite. Number 2, this will be terrifying. And number 3, do it anyway. Do it anyway. And when you do, and your life starts to get really good, like really good, please send me a message because I don't get any messages and I just want to hear how it went. You can send me a message on Instagram at Misha Calvert. You can email me, misha@clubofamillion.com. I've really enjoyed this episode. I really love talking about this stuff. I love talking about how we can change our lives. It's so exciting to me. And thank you for listening and being here with me. This has been amazing, and I really appreciate you. All right, I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to Film on Tape. If you like the way that I approach the industry, check out our other classes, consulting, and mentorship at clubvermillion.com. Vermillion is a home for artists and those looking to expand creatively. Whether you're an actor, a film professional, an entrepreneur, or a CEO, we'll help you find your voice and hone your skills to thrive in any market at any scale. You can schedule a free phone consultation at clubvermillion.com.